Today we're going to discuss the top 5 things there is to know about living in Vancouver. So let's begin. The very first thing is that Vancouver will always live in the shadow of Portland, Oregon. Portland is a well established metropolitan area with long established neighborhoods and communities. Vancouver, on the other hand, is slowly making a transition from a more of a farmer slash dairy community to more of a small city living environment. And so in that sense, it will always consider, I mean, it will always be the little brother to Portland, Oregon. Um, an example that I like to use is San Francisco as a big brother and Oakland as a younger brother. Or think about using an example with there's 2 cities in different states, New York City to Newark, New Jersey. So number one, Vancouver will always be Portland's little brother. Number two, a tale of 2 cities, if you will. Vancouver proper is divided into 2 separate communities. You have the city of Vancouver and you have unincorporated Vancouver. When we take a look at a map of Vancouver, we'll see a distinct line, boundary line that separates the two. If you look north of the line, you'll see communities such as Salmon Creek, Orchards, Minnehaha, just to name a few. Those are considered to be part of unincorporated Vancouver. I do think that over time, those communities will be annexed into the city of Vancouver, but for right now, they're part of unincorporated Vancouver. The only major difference, in my opinion, is in the emergency services that you receive, in particular with the police service. So if you call 911 because you need law enforcement assistance, if you live in the city of Vancouver below the boundary line, you will get assistance from the city of Vancouver Police Department. But if you live above the line, you'll get help from the Clark County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff's Department. Other than that, it's really the same because the utilities in both Vancouver City and unincorporated Vancouver are provided by the Clark Public Utilities. The water, the sewer, the electricity, they're all provided by the same utility companies, regardless of which part of town you live in. So that's really the only major difference between the two areas, incorporated Vancouver and unincorporated Vancouver. So number three is pretty much hit your wagon. Vancouver is a very car dependent community. Although there's some public transportation, it's very limited. Um, so what I'm saying is that there's a necessity, a high necessity to have a vehicle. Um, yes, you can do ride shares and Uber and Lyft and all that stuff, but um, there's very limited public transportation in the city. There is um, transportation across the river to Portland, but again, you have to get to the transit center to catch the public transportation that takes you across the river to Portland. Um, but since Vancouver is um, a highly dependent vehicle city, or less walkable city, is what I'm trying to say. Um, we should discuss the cost of gas because that's something that's a concern as the fuel prices have been increasing recently. According to AAA, if I remember correctly, the cost of gas in Vancouver is $3.75 on average, while the national average is $3.42. Now, of course, that's according to AAA, and you know, if you shop around, you may be able to find better prices. But that's what AAA has when I looked yesterday. Now, it would be kind of pointless and worthless to try to come up with the cost for auto insurance because there's way too many variables to take into consideration when trying to determine auto insurance because it's it's based on your age, your your driving record, and so it's just impossible to figure that part out. So um, let's just go on. The fourth thing is to rub some dirt on it because there's really only two hospitals in the Vancouver area. And by hospital, I mean with an emergency room that can handle any and all um, medical events. I'm talking auto accident and like a cardiac event. Um, there are several urgent care facilities sprinkled throughout the community, but there's only two hospitals that can handle everything. Up north, we have the Legacy Salmon Creek, and down towards the southern end of the city, we have Peace Health. Now, again, going back to the two parts of Vancouver, the incorporated or the city and the unincorporated. Legacy Salmon Creek is up in unincorporated Vancouver, while Peace Health is down in the city of Vancouver. Um, so the reason why this is important to me is if there's a major event like a multiple vehicle accident on I-5 or 205 or just like something that happens like a whatever the case may be, I'm sure we can come up with something. And there's a lot of casualties, a lot of injuries. It's not hard to imagine um, the hospitals here becoming overwhelmed with patients and those seeking medical treatment from that event, on top of all the other patients that are there seeking normal, your traditional emergency room visits, like a slip, trip, or fall, and somebody needs medical attention. So it's I'm not trying to paint a gloomy picture about the healthcare. The healthcare here is fantastic, but we're limited on the type of emergency hospitals that we have at our disposal here. If it becomes too overwhelming, they do transport to Portland, um, and to kind of relieve the pressure that we have here. So that's something to to keep in mind. And lastly, um, I call this bring your own DJ because there really isn't a high number of clubs, dance clubs and that kind of we don't have very many of those. There's also no strip clubs in Portland. So if you're looking for really a place of 20 or 30 somethings, 40 or, people that can't let go of the youth in the 50s, if you're looking for a spot for them to go dance, you got to go to Portland. Um, and, in some parts of Portland, it used to be, now this is pre COVID, so it may have changed, but in pre COVID, it used to be where you couldn't throw a rock in Portland and not hit a stripper. I'm just saying. But I digress. There are plenty of bars and taverns and places where you can go enjoy an adult beverage of your choosing, but you know but if you're looking for a place to go dance with 20, 30 somethings where the music's just way too loud and cheap cologne is in the air, you got to go to Portland. But given the fact that we're still adjusting to life, this COVID, post COVID life, or during the COVID phase, I'm not sure how those establishments are doing in Portland, as we speak. And so, just something to take into consideration. A bonus thing that I think that just came to mind is we have a pretty strong job market. Because we got the shot mandate and the vax requirement and all these, but we still have a pretty strong job market here in Vancouver. So that's a thing that is very, very beneficial to us. And so, um, did I leave anything out? I'm sure I did. This was something that was just kind of on the fly. Um, I was thinking about this earlier, so I just decided to try it out and see what I come up with. But let me know what I failed to mention, because I'm sure Um, there's something that I missed. Oh, great schools. We have great schools here in Vancouver. Either the Vancouver School District or the Evergreen School District. Those are the two. Now that's separated by east and west. And so the Evergreen School District is east, I believe, of 205, and the Vancouver School District is west of 205. And so that we have some great school districts in both. Let me see, good job market, good schools. I think that's it. If I forgot anything, please leave me a comment. Let me know. Otherwise, you have yourself a wonderful day. And do me a favor, if you do nothing else, please be good to yourselves and each other. My name is Michael Harding with Keller Williams. If you have any questions, my contact information is in the details below. And I wish you and yours the very, very best.